All right, thank you very much indeed, our correspondent Dele Omayeni, covering the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. Well, when we speak about security, I mean, getting up this morning and moving around, you get different reports, correspondents in all parts of the country, getting feedback and information almost on the go. One of such was Kogi State, not too far from here in Abuja, where several reports did come through about some activity from the state concerning some local government areas, senatorial districts. And now if you look at some scenario coming through from the senatorial candidate of the PDP, Natasha Akpoti, now this was one of the scenes that played out in some of the areas where voting was supposed to happen. And if I remember, if I get that right, that I think there was a response from the government saying that they had to send people for excavation purposes. We'll just need to get some clarity on that one at the moment. So if we do have Natasha Akpoti, she is on the ballot. So she wasn't exactly happy concerning what played out. So do we have her? Let's just get to hear from her concerning what transpired in her locality. Good evening, Natasha. Can you hear us today?
I can hear you, Chamberlain. Good evening. Good evening, Nigerians.
We did see some visuals, images circulating about you, narrating what transpired. So tell us, what happened? Okay, so it's just coming in frozen at the moment, but we will sort that out and bring her response to you. We'll get as many response from all of those who are in the field in whatever way possible. So just keep it. We'll sort that out and get her back on. And I also do remember that one of the pressers with the EFCC, I beg your pardon, with the INEC chair, some CSOs had, okay, well, there you go. That is, I believe, some of these scenarios that happened earlier in the day today. So we'll get her back and ensure that she gives us her account of what transpired. Well, there was that call, that concern, when they did ask the INEC chair and security agencies, particularly the IGP, protect the few number. I think the number dropped for females on the ballot. We'll come to that. I wonder why that is the case, but we do have her back. Natasha Akpoti, she's back on the line. So please go ahead and tell us what transpired today for you.
Well, it started quite peacefully, and then there about 12 o'clock, we experienced a lot of attacks from the APC thugs. They carried machetes, guns. Those that carried guns, they wore military uniform, but you can tell that they were not the genuine military. And then they collected ballot papers, seized the beavers, destroyed a lot, and at a point they even tried to abduct an INEC official from a polling near me. So in total, in my local government, that is Okene local government and Okene local government, hundreds of polling units have been destroyed because pretty much we are leading everywhere. Everywhere we were leading. And then wherever they found that we were leading extremely, they had to destroy the ballot boxes. So what happened is, at some instance, the soldiers moved swiftly and like all these gentlemen there and intercepted them requesting for their identification cards, you know, to show that they are actually members of the force. And to their surprise, they had none. So all these men you are seeing on the floor, they're actually about 30 of them that were arrested. So they, can you hear me, sorry? There are about 30 of them arrested. Only 8 are being displayed there because they were arrested in badges and they were moved to the Lokoja command. They were fake policemen. They were all fake policemen wearing the military uniform, carrying guns, machine guns, and they were the ones terrorizing voters. Now, I can tell you that now, I already made a complaint to INEC that hundreds of polling units were destroyed across the local government. In addition, the Ganaja axis of Ajakuta local government never voted. Many polling units there, polling units that have thousands of voters, registered voters, were disenfranchised because the INEC officials was not on site, and the EOs switched off their phones. We could not reach the EOs, and so no material. So there was no voting in Ganaja axis. Petitions have been written The polling agents wrote petitions in that regard, and we are hoping that INEC will allow elections to be conducted in these places, because it is extremely wrong to disenfranchise thousands of people. I mean, you should have seen the mood earlier on in the day. People came out in their thousands. It was so peaceful. People were organized. Everything was coordinated until this mishap started around 12 o'clock. So that's the situation now. There have been some deaths. We saw instances where there's some thugs in uniforms tried to shoot at the police officers, and then there was a retaliation of force. And then, unfortunately, we have some of our constituents dead. Some people lost their lives today because the soldiers had to defend their lives. So there was exchange of fire of gunshots.
That's really disheartening.
Oh, and one more thing.
But I don't know if you can confirm to us, Natasha, if you can hear me, about there were reports that initially some areas were dug up around your local government. Can you hear me?
Into my community, Yabelo tried by the Nigerian army, and they told Yabelo not to. He had no right to leave his local government and enter another local government. He was driving into my community and he was stopped. And I believe at that point, your channel's reporter, in conjunction with TVC, because they were together, they tried to get a coverage of it because it was a scene. The governor stepped out of his car, challenging the forces that he needed to drive to my community. And they were like, no, you have to stay back at your side. We understand you're a governor, but you cannot cross local government borders. And he wasn't happy about that, but they successfully sent him away. Your reporter was on ground at that point. I don't know if he sent you the visuals.
Okay, that's certainly something to note, and we'll certainly look out for that. But I wanted to confirm, yes. I mean, there were stories that made the round earlier today that trenches were dug up around your local government area, making it difficult for INEC officials to access. Can you confirm that story to us?
Yes, 5 roads leading to my community were cut off. The excavation started 2 days ago. Yes, the exercise started about 3 nights ago. We woke up to realize 3 roads were excavated, and then they continued the next day. So I tell you, that was done purposely to disenfranchise us and to prevent INEC from exercising a free and fair election. And the hardship, even though the governor issued a statement that his reason for excavating 5 roads around my community, thereby trapping me, is to curb insecurity. And that is such a lame excuse. Pardon me, it's very lame. Because I can't begin to tell you the amount of hardship the people in my community and neighboring communities had to face because they were cut off. Traders could not access the market spaces, farmers could move, children could not go to schools, commuters had to go had to create an extra route. Some even had to go through Edo State because I'm sharing boundary with Ipilo. They had to go through a journey that would have just taken 10 minutes, took 1 hour. So a lot of activities crumbled in the past 2 days. But what happened is, at the time, I had to step up. I have some construction equipment in my site and my home here in the village. So we took the payloader and we went around all of these sites and we started covering them one after the other. We covered the last at about 4:30 a.m. this morning. And that is why INEC officials were able to deploy their materials timely today using the route that we covered. But I'd like to let Nigerians know that these roads were built, some of them were constructed 40 years ago. 2 of them actually federal highways. This particular road behind me was also cut off because it leads to Ikare. It connects my community to Ikare. So we had to just cover it up. My concern now is when the rain starts coming, mind you, we only filled the sandbag. But when the rains fall, those roads will be unmotorable, like they will be in deplorable situation. And I do hope that the governor, considering the fact that he excavated this road to curb insecurity, that he will, immediately after the elections, he will deploy resources to fix these roads. If there's any other question, I'm willing to answer.
Yeah, just quickly, I would like to know what the status is right now. You say you're heading, I heard you whispering that you're going to the collation center.
Yes.
Where it does mean then that voting was able to successfully happen in some polling units so collation can take place. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, we just have to make do with what we have. So we do all the other polling units that elections were held successfully, we won. So we just have to, but we're also hearing that there's going to be a lot of intimidation and harassment of INEC officers. Mind you, I told you that some 2 INEC officers were abducted, actually, like at the verge of being abducted. They were dragged, they were saved when they were already pushed in the vehicles, in the thugs' vehicles. So we're just trying to deploy ourselves, like move whatever personnel we have over there to guide and protect our votes and the INEC officials that are there, because we don't want anything to go wrong. We don't want any form of inducement or harassment. So if at the end of the day, INEC decides to announce the results based on the polling units that were successful, I know that I'm going to emerge victorious. But at the same time, I don't want any last-minute gain, because this is it. Like, until the results are finally announced, believe me, there are people that are going in to make some mischievous changes, and we're trying to avoid that.
All right, then. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today. Mrs. Natasha Akpoti Uduahande, who's the PDP senatorial candidate. We also implore you to stay safe.